Welcome, thrill seekers, to a journey through Ireland's most haunted prisons. These dark, chilling sights are not just relics of the past. They are the resting places of tortured souls and restless spirits. Join me as we explore the eerie stories that linger in the shadows of these historic locations. One. Kilmainham Jail, Dublin. Kilmainham Jail, standing silent and grim in the heart of Dublin, holds a dark, chilling history. Built in 1796, this prison was once home to the most notorious criminals of Ireland, but its most unsettling stories come from its final years as a place of political imprisonment. The air inside feels thick, as if the echoes of the past never truly left. Spirits of the executed haunt the cold stone walls. The most famous of these is the ghost of an unknown prisoner, said to wander the halls at night. Staff and visitors alike have reported eerie sounds, cold spots, and fleeting shadows. There's one legend that speaks of a woman who wandered the prison during the day, never speaking, never acknowledging the living. Some say she was once an inmate. Others believe she is a lingering spirit, forever bound to the cruel history of Kilmainham. The unsettling feeling that something, or someone, is watching you is palpable, and each darkened cell holds the whispers of those who were once confined to its cold, unforgiving walls. Kilmainham Jail, a place of sorrow, death, and mystery, remains one of Ireland's most haunted sites. Two. Cork City Jail, Cork. Cork City Jail stands as a haunting relic of Ireland's turbulent past. Opened in 1824, this imposing prison was a place of misery and despair, where the cries of the condemned once echoed through its stone corridors. Today, the air is heavy with the weight of its dark history, and many believe that the souls of its former inmates still roam within. Visitors often report hearing disembodied voices whispering in the silence, and sudden footsteps echoing down empty halls. The most chilling tale is that of a young woman named Mary, who was imprisoned here for stealing food. Her spirit, they say, is seen wandering the upper floors, her anguished face pressed against the bars, endlessly searching for a freedom she never found in life. Shadows move where no one walks, and an unshakable sense of dread lingers, as if the walls themselves remember every sorrow, every injustice. Cork City Jail, a place where time stands still, is more than a museum. It's a portal to the ghostly echoes of Ireland's dark history. Three. Wicklow Jail, Wicklow. Wicklow Jail, known as the Gate of Hell, is one of Ireland's most haunted locations. Built in 1702, this prison witnessed centuries of suffering, torture, and death. Its walls are soaked in the anguish of those who were imprisoned for crimes both real and imagined. Prisoners, including women and children, faced brutal conditions, often dying from starvation or disease. Visitors today speak of an overwhelming sense of dread upon entering the building, as if the air itself carries the weight of its dark past. There are frequent reports of ghostly figures in the dimly lit corridors, doors slamming shut on their own, and cold hands brushing against unsuspecting visitors. The most infamous tale is that of a jailer known for his cruelty. His spirit is said to stalk the upper levels, his heavy boots echoing ominously through the empty halls. Others have claimed to hear the faint cries of children, long gone but never at peace. Wicklow Jail is more than a historical site. It is a chilling reminder of human suffering and a haven for restless spirits. Fourth. Spike Island Prison, Cove, County Cork. Spike Island Prison, often called Ireland's Alcatraz, sits isolated in the waters of Cork Harbour, shrouded in an air of foreboding. Originally a monastery, it became a fortress, and later one of the largest prisons in Europe during the 19th century. Its cells held thousands of inmates, many of whom were political prisoners or petty criminals doomed to brutal conditions. The island's reputation for misery and death has left an indelible mark, and some say it has trapped restless spirits within its walls. Visitors recount chilling encounters, shadowy figures lurking in the abandoned cells, sudden drops in temperature, and distant cries carried on the wind. One of the most haunting stories is of a prisoner who died in solitary confinement. His anguished screams are said to echo through the dark, empty corridors at night. Even the guards spoke of hearing footsteps behind them when no one was there. Spike Island is a place where history and the supernatural collide, a silent witness to countless tragedies that refuse to be forgotten. Five. Derry Jail. Derry, Londonderry. Derry Jail, a place of torment and despair, stands as a chilling reminder of Ireland's dark past. Built in the 19th century, this grim prison was known for its overcrowding, harsh punishments, and numerous executions. The gallows, once a site of public spectacle, are said to be the focal point of the prison's haunting. Many who visit claim to feel an overwhelming sense of dread, as if the walls themselves bear witness to the anguish of those who died there. Ghostly apparitions have been seen near the execution site, and disembodied voices whisper in the dead of night. The most infamous tale is of a prisoner wrongfully hanged. His restless spirit is said to roam the grounds, seeking justice. Flickering lights, cold drafts, and the sound of chains rattling have left visitors terrified. Derry Jail is not just a relic of history, it is a place where the veil between the living and the dead feels unsettlingly thin. Six. Donal Jail. Lifford, County Donegal. Donal Jail, nestled in the quiet town of Lifford, hides a sinister past behind its unassuming facade. Built in the 18th century, it became infamous for its harsh conditions and the countless souls who met their end within its cold, unforgiving walls. Prisoners faced overcrowding, disease, and merciless treatment, leaving behind an imprint of suffering that lingers to this day. Visitors have reported chilling phenomena, the sound of phantom footsteps echoing through the dark corridors, unexplained whispers calling their names, and sudden icy drafts that seem to come from nowhere. The most haunting tale is of a former inmate who perished in his cell. His shadowy figure is said to appear near the old stairwell, his face contorted in eternal anguish. Local legends speak of screams heard at night, as if the spirits of the condemned still relive their final moments. Donal Jail is a place where time feels frozen, and the line between the living and the dead fades into the darkness. Seven. Limerick Prison. Limerick. Limerick Prison, a foreboding structure in the heart of the city, has a history steeped in violence and despair. Established in the early 19th century, it was the site of numerous executions and countless stories of misery. The prison's dark reputation is matched by the chilling experiences of those who dare to visit. Shadows flicker in the corners of empty cells, faint cries echo through the corridors, and sudden, icy chills creep up the spines of the unwary. One of the most infamous legends speaks of a condemned man, hanged for a crime he swore he didn't commit. His restless spirit is said to roam the gallows, his presence marked by a heavy, suffocating energy. Guards have recounted hearing the dragging of chains in the dead of night, and visitors often speak of feeling watched by unseen eyes. Limerick Prison is not just a relic of the past. It is a place where the torment of those who once suffered there continues to haunt its every shadow. 8. Portlaoise Prison. Portlaoise, County Law. Portlaoise Prison, one of Ireland's most secure institutions, holds a sinister history that stretches back to the 19th century. Known for housing notorious criminals, its dark walls have witnessed years of suffering and death. The prison's isolation and harsh conditions have led to countless rumors of hauntings, with reports of eerie noises and ghostly figures that seem to materialize from the shadows. Prisoners, Both past and present have spoken of strange sensations, like the feeling of being watched, and unexplained cold spots that seep into their cells. A particularly chilling story surrounds a prisoner who died in solitary confinement. His restless spirit is said to roam the cold, empty corridors, his footsteps echoing long after he's gone. Guards have reported hearing faint whispers and the clinking of chains in the dead of night, as if the very walls are alive with the memories of those who perished within. Portlaoise Prison is a place where the past never truly fades, and the ghosts of its violent history continue to haunt its every corner. Nine. Mountjoy Prison, Dublin. Mountjoy Prison, one of Ireland's oldest and most notorious jails, is a place where death and despair linger in every corner. Since its opening in 1850, Mountjoy has housed some of the most dangerous criminals in Irish history, and its brutal reputation has left a dark imprint on those who lived and died within its walls. The air is thick with a chilling sense of unrest, and visitors often report feeling an oppressive presence as they walk through its haunting corridors. The most disturbing stories revolve around the old execution chamber, where the sound of creaking ropes and distant whispers can still be heard. The ghost of a prisoner who was wrongly executed is said to haunt the building, wandering the halls with his heavy, dragging footsteps. Guards and inmates alike have spoken of cold spots and eerie, unexplained noises that reverberate through the empty cells at night. Mountjoy Prison is a place where the tortured souls of its past refuse to rest, and the line between the living and the dead blurs in the darkness. Gunthierbeen, Armagh Jail. Armagh Jail, a place of suffering and silence, stands as one of Ireland's most haunted sites. Built in the early 19th century, this grim prison housed political prisoners during the Irish struggle for independence, their anguished cries still thought to echo through the stone walls. Visitors speak of a suffocating, unnatural cold that envelops the building, and the feeling of unseen eyes watching their every move. The most chilling stories come from the women's section, where female prisoners once endured harsh treatment. Many claim to see ghostly figures, their faces pale and eyes full of sorrow, walking the darkened halls. One particular legend haunts the place: the spirit of a young woman who was wrongfully imprisoned and died under cruel conditions. Her restless soul is said to wander the yard at night, her faint cries drifting on the wind. Armagh Jail is more than a relic of history. It is a dark and malevolent place where the souls of the past linger, never at peace. Eleventh. Athlone Jail. Athlone, County Westmeath. Athlone Jail, standing quietly in the heart of County Westmeath, hides a dark and tragic history within its walls. Built in the early 19th century, it became notorious for its overcrowded cells and the harsh conditions endured by its prisoners. The prison's haunted reputation has grown over the years, with many visitors reporting an eerie, oppressive atmosphere that seems to hang in the air. Cold, unseen hands are said to brush against the skin of those who wander the halls, and the sound of heavy footsteps can be heard in the empty corridors. The most chilling legend is that of a prisoner who perished in one of the cells after being tortured. His ghost, pale and vengeful, is said to roam the corridors, his agonizing cries still haunting the night. Staff and tourists alike have felt an overwhelming sense of dread, as if the walls themselves are alive with the sorrow of the many souls who suffered within. Athlone Jail is a place where the past never truly fades. It lingers, waiting to be remembered by those brave enough to venture inside. 12th. Naas Jail, County Kildare. Naas Jail, nestled in the quiet town of Naas, is a chilling reminder of Ireland's grim penal history. Built in the early 1800s, the jail was once a place of suffering, where men, women, and children were subjected to harsh conditions, overcrowding, and brutal punishments. Today, the prison's eerie silence is broken only by the faint creaks of its ancient walls. Visitors report strange occurrences, Doors that slam shut on their own, footsteps echoing through the halls, and a constant sense of being watched. The most terrifying legend surrounds a prisoner who was left to die in isolation. His ghost, forever trapped in the agony of his final days, is said to haunt the old cells, his anguished cries drifting through the air. Locals speak of the feeling of cold breath on the back of their necks as they pass the jail, and the shadows that seem to follow their every step. Naas Jail remains a place where the tortured souls of the past linger, their restless spirits unwilling to let go of the pain and suffering they endured. (13) Skergo Jail. Skergo Jail, standing on the edge of the town, is a place where the past refuses to fade into obscurity. Built in 1820, this grim prison once held countless souls who suffered under its oppressive walls. The jail's dark corridors are filled with stories of despair and death, and many visitors claim to feel a chilling presence as they walk through its rooms. The most haunting legend speaks of a prisoner who was wrongly accused and tortured until his death. His spirit, full of anger and regret, is said to roam the prison's halls, leaving a trail of icy air in his wake. The faint sound of chains dragging along the floor can be heard late at night, along with eerie whispers that seem to come from nowhere. Locals believe the very stones of Skergo Jail hold the energy of its tormented past, making it one of the most haunted places in Ireland. With every step, it feels as though the spirits of the past are watching, waiting for the living to remember their suffering. (14) Roscommon Jail. Roscommon Jail, an imposing structure that has stood since 1800, is a place where the echoes of the past still linger in the cold, damp air. Originally designed to house criminals, it became a notorious site for its harsh treatment of prisoners and its many untimely deaths. The jail's crumbling walls are said to be haunted by the spirits of those who died within, and the chilling atmosphere never seems to leave. Visitors often feel a sudden drop in temperature as they walk through the dark cells, and some report hearing the sound of chains scraping along the stone floors. The most disturbing legend is that of a prisoner who died in agony after being cruelly punished. His tortured spirit is said to walk the corridors at night, dragging his feet with each step. The restless souls of Roscommon Jail seem trapped in time, forever haunted by the torment they endured. And for those brave enough to visit, the air is thick with the feeling that the past is never truly gone. (15) Newgate Prison. Dublin. Newgate Prison, once a grim and feared institution in Dublin, is now nothing more than a distant memory, but its haunted past still lingers in the air. Built in the 12th century, it was a place where condemned criminals, many of whom faced a grim fate on the gallows, met their end. The prison was notorious for its overcrowded cells, harsh conditions, and brutal executions. The ghost of a man wrongfully hanged for a crime he didn't commit is said to haunt the area where the gallows once stood, his spirit trapped in a cycle of pain and vengeance. Visitors have reported hearing the haunting sound of a rope creaking in the wind, followed by whispers that seem to come from nowhere. Some have even felt unseen hands gripping their shoulders, pulling them into the shadows. Newgate Prison is more than just a piece of history. It's a place where the spirits of the past refuse to rest, their anguished cries echoing through the streets of Dublin long after the prison's walls have crumbled. Thank you for joining me on this spine-tingling adventure through Ireland's haunted prisons. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more ghostly tales and mysteries. Until next time, stay curious and stay haunted.